Good evening, everyone out there in Printwear land. This is Erich Campbell coming to you from the end of day 4 of the Printwear tune-up. Now, it has been a very long, late day, but it's also been a very fun day. We decided after having just absolutely gone at it hard that we'd have a little bit of break time today, and Regina decided to surprise me by saying we were going to go ahead and see some sights. So we did start with work today, believe it or not. Even though we were planning to have a little break, we wanted to make sure we got some things executed before we took off. And the very first thing we got done was to get Regina set up on some of the automation that we had promised for her social media accounts. Having really taken care of these things in the last few days, she was set up on just about every account she needed to be. She had her Instagram mostly sorted out. She had her Pinterest page started. She had some things, the basics set up done for her Facebook pages, but she hadn't done anything as far as automation, as far as populating some of them with boards and images and such like that. So I helped her with that. And we managed to find a solution that is actually not only going to allow her to do some automation, but allow her to do it in a smart way, where she'll be able to take images from Instagram, tag them with a specific board tag, and honestly it's a tag that can be searchable by other people and for other reasons, and have it specifically populate a board. So the best thing I can say to show you that is that on hers she has some bridal images that she wants to share and some bridal products she'd like to sell. So on her Instagram feed, when she takes a picture and shares it with the hashtag bridal, it will share to her Pinterest account, but instead of just dumping into any random board or one board with all these things from Instagram on it, as I've set up for myself in the past, when that hashtag bridal is detected, it's going to go directly to that bridal page. The one thing about that automation is, with it set up the way that it is, the hashtags make sense, and the different boards are actually categorized properly and curated, which is important. That's why some people don't like automation. Now, the tool we used to automate that was called If This Then That, ifttt.com. And with that, you can do a lot more than sending Instagram pictures around. In fact, I'm not even going to mention everything it can do, but if you want to send content from one social media site to another automatically and do it in a smart way, the likelihood is If This Then That will do that for you. So that's one of the big exciting things we did, and it doesn't seem like it might be the most exciting thing on earth, but when you're a small business owner and you're a solopreneur like Regina is, you really don't have time to waste on a lot of things. And she was getting a little worried about how she's going to fill that social media channel, and though I'd like her to curate and have showed her how to curate some other material, both hers and others, on all of her feeds, and how to use native material, like the longer post links you can use on Facebook, and like some of the links and descriptors that you can use on Pinterest to make things have price tags on them in the images. Those things, those native things are all great, but this will at least allow her to do some repurposing of content automatically, and that's something that's going to save her a lot of time, especially as she first gets started. So that was a really cool thing and a really big get. We certainly did work on some other things. I know we talked about doing some digitizing work, and we're actually going to do most of that tomorrow. We did a little bit of work with embroidery and thread and what have you, as you might assume, but every time that I talk to Regina about something, I find that she's really well on it. I mean, the couple of things that she wants to work on, namely pathing and carving for silhouettes, they're not going to take a day to do. In fact, the things that I really want her to work on are about we talked about the boundaries again. We always talk about that, which is how to limit what you're doing so you're focusing on things that are most important to you, how to organize yourself and your time, how to make time for the things that are the most important, and also certainly how to share the things that you do so that other people can find you and the inbound marketing stuff starts working, the content curation and creation. And that was really important to me. So for me, I couldn't stress enough that getting her set up where not only is she taking the amount of time that I think she needs to for sharing, but she's doing it in a way that's smart and won't interrupt her process. She's already started, and this is the best thing. I'll have to show you folks a picture of how I'm taking these videos and I actually have her getting the same kind of tools that I use. Not as much for the big camera stuff like I'm doing here, but for the stuff that she's going to do every day, which is product shots, stuff like that. And she's got a phone with a very good camera in it. I had her go ahead and look at a tripod mount for cameras. It's a little clamp that holds cameras, or not cameras, holds phones rather, camera phones, smartphones, in a safe way so you can use them on a tripod of any kind. And that's great, so you can get good steady product shots while using your smartphone. I mean, a lot of people use smartphones for everything, and that's great, honestly. For most things, a lot of those cameras are going to be fine, especially in the high-end phones. And she's got one, so she's been taking some really good shots. Now, the other thing is, not only did I have her get that tripod mount, I suggested to her that she's using what I'm currently using now, which is called a Gorilla Pod, and it's a very posable, flexible tripod that you can use not only in a standard tripod manner. It does have 3 legs, but the legs individually have small rubber grips all up and down the legs and can be bent into any shape. And therefore you can wrap them around a post or a pole or mount them on some edge of a shelf. You can do a lot more with it, and when you're in a small shop, it may make a lot of sense just to wrap that around the edge of a shelf so that you have something that doesn't have to be standing somewhere, and you can put it in any position you want to. What I'm hoping is that we can finally get her to kind of transition into video. She's going to take some videos like the videos I'm taking here, which wasn't something she originally wanted to do. But I feel that as we keep going, she's getting more and more comfortable.